Go live with Diana.
Yes, of course we're gonna get it
Oh
going.
We did it. I was so scared. I'm like, I've never done this before.
Hi.
You look amazing.
So do you. Can you believe we've known each other since kindergarten?
Kindergarten. St. Margaret Mary's, baby. We go way back.
I know.
To time.
You and all of your brothers and sisters.
I know. I know. How's your brother?
He's so good.
I haven't seen him in forever.
Yeah, speaking of Cleveland business, he has a restaurant in Willoughby now, a new restaurant called Sage Karma Kitchen.
What's it called?
Sage Karma Kitchen.
Oh my, I didn't know that was his. I literally was just with someone yesterday and I drove past. I was like, I've never been to that restaurant. Have you? And they were like, no. And I've been wanting to go.
Yeah, it's got like all grass-fed beef and organic things and gluten-free and vegan and things like that. It's really cute.
Oh my gosh, I'm going for sure. Wait a minute. I want to use one of these freaking Instagram filters. No, forget it.
You can do a filter?
I don't have one, but okay, forget it. We're going regular. So I am like,
you're beautiful, but you're so beautiful. You know, in every way.
You are in every way. You inspire me so much. So my first freaking yoga class ever in life 22 years ago was with you.
Wow.
Yes. Back at Energetics when we were like on the carpet.
Oh my God.
We were on carpet.
It was. We were on blue carpet. It was blue carpet. We had blue curtains. There was mirrors. And there was a Gatorade machine in the room that made sound, you know?
I just remember like having to leave the class one time because I was about to puke and you're like, are you okay? I'm like, no, I've never experienced anything like this. I don't know how hot it was. Was it hotter than normal in there?
Probably. And was the room packed with people?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the more people, the more humidity and the hotter it feels and the hotter you get. And
it wasn't regulated like it is now. So
yeah.
But you like literally are the reason I fell in love with yoga for real. Like I go when I can, like every single day. And I go to Harmony now. Shout out to Harmony in downtown Willoughby too. Yeah. Yes, Natalie is like, oh. But I just literally, I mean, I'm watching, I don't even know where to start because I'm like so excited. So you have been on this journey, this soul journey. You had to have been on this journey for such a long freaking time because your stuff is so deep and beautiful and moving and literally makes me cry when I read it. And so I just want to see, you know, how did this evolve? How did you come to this place where, by the way, Diana's a self-esteem coach for women and a yoga instructor for 22 years, and has great coaching programs that we'll talk about in a little bit and all of that good stuff. But tell us about how you got here. And wait, I just want to read this really fast because when I send you questions to answer so I can kind of prep and see what you want to cover and things like that. And I literally started tearing up when I read this. So my name is Diana Vitantonio and I'm a self-esteem coach for women. Nothing lights my heart up more than witnessing another woman empower, heal, and forgive herself so that she can begin to value herself in every decision she makes. This is a big deal. It seems easy, but this is the deep and hard work of diving into your interior and all the parts of yourself that you don't know that well yet. This is how I believe you truly love yourself. I mean, that's like everything, girl. That's everything. It's not big. It's yeah. So, I mean, how did you get to that place? You had to have been doing a lot of soul searching over the years since kindergarten.
Girl, and it probably started that there.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, thank you. You know, I think it just, how it all started is just one foot in front of the other. Honestly, it's, you know, right? How did you get right there? And,
yeah.
But I will say that I always felt, I want to say this, and it's a little dramatic, but I want to say it, and it's true, is I really felt tortured as a child, and I was really silently suffering as a child. I desperately wanted to connect, and I was so deeply afraid of connection. I learned very early how to disassociate and disconnect from myself. So I was always in like a nervous system. My nervous system, I always had anxiety, but I kept it to myself. And just really, I struggled really knowing who I was, because I was always disconnected from who I was. And so I would do things that I was supposed to do and do things that I should do. And I ended up really being in a lot of pain. And I thought, well, if I'm supposed to do that and it feels like this, just really began to question. And really, it began just this really big, deep journey of me trying to really learn about myself and figure out who I was. And I'm still here learning.
Of course. I mean, it never stops. But how, like, what made you so afraid to connect at such a young age? What was it that scared you so much?
You know, it's so interesting. I think we all go through such different experiences in our nervous system and what we perceive to be happening in life. I never really understood this for a really long time until I started learning about attachment styles. And that's one of the parts of my program. I teach people to do this because I think so many people are unaware of their attachment style. And it's the people that are like, why do I keep dating this same type of person? Or why do I keep doing this? It's an attachment pattern, usually. So I had a birth trauma. Literally, my mom touched me one time in the first 2 weeks of my birth. So I had like an anxious attachment. I also really struggled with change, and if there was an adult around that was emotionally unstable or a little immature, I really tend to feel scared. And so I kind of developed this anxious avoidant attachment style, which is a little avoidant, a little bit anxious, and it's really confusing because it's like you want connection and then you're so afraid of it. It's an interesting thing that I think a lot of people go through on the inside, actually.
Do you think it ties into, because like I just think about how I know how you felt on the inside, but I can just only tell you what it looked like on the outside. And that was that you had the biggest, most brightest smile of anybody ever in school, probably. Oh. And so behind all of that was all of that struggle and that turmoil and everything like that. But the light is real that came from you. And I know that for a fact. So do you think part of it is, the whole idea of that we're scared more of our light than we are of our darkness? I mean, do you think that ties into that maybe you were just scared to feel fully how you felt? Or no, you had to work through the trauma to get to that? Maybe.
Where there's light, there's darkness. And a lot of times we forget that.
Yeah.
A lot of times, and we see that a lot with artists that have committed suicide or have become drug addicted, and we're like, what? They're so talented. There was such a bright light. Or you'll hear people all the time, like, just if you even watch Intervention,
yeah.
a lot of sometimes that's like, you see people, they were the brightest light, and now they're an addict. I feel like we sometimes often forget that where there is light, there is also darkness. And so, yeah.
Yes, to probably the same extent, maybe.
Exactly. I believe that. And I can't believe that, of course, but that's what feels like truth to me.
Wow, that totally this whole conversation makes me want to cry. Because it's so true. I mean, I feel like I've been on a journey too. That's why everything that you write resonates so deeply with me. It's like really just allowing myself to feel all of the emotions and you know, honor myself and honor my voice and all of that. So tell me about like, what do you do when you work with people? Like, what are your, I know you talked about, you know, the words that you have them describe, but I mean, go through that process. What are some of the things that you take people through to help explore this?
Yes, we go through the process together. I mean, I have been doing it for 22 years. So the very first thing that I teach you to do is breathe. Actually, I know it sounds simple, but I've somehow made a career in it where, you know, just teaching people how to breathe a little bit deeper, and they're like, you changed my lifetime.
Yes.
So literally we go through, and I think self-mastery comes through doing things over and over and over and over and over again. So this isn't a program where you like learn something and then it changes your life. This is a program where you practice some new habits and then it changes your life. So we go through meditation and breath work and movement, and then I take them through a deep dive to rediscovering who they are. And so it's learning your attachment style, it's learning what boundaries are, how to have healthy boundaries. It's all about learning how to communicate in an empowering way in every part of your life, how to have a hard conversation, how to have emotional intelligence, how to stop reacting and start responding with a little bit more knowing, how to see, you know, patterns. It's thought work. It's really everything that I believe change your life. I tell people all the time, there's not one thing in my program that I didn't think had to be in there because it changed my whole life.
And how are these practices that you do like on a daily basis, or how? And that have kind of grown and evolved over time, and you just kind of keep adding tools to your toolbox? Is that like what you've done?
Yeah, and I think the thing that I definitely do all the time is sitting down with myself, breathing and meditating, because that's how you spend time with your heart. You know, you close your eyes, you get everyone else's voice out of your head, and you really get honest. What do I want to say? You know, what do I want? And so coming into that is really important. I think daily, moving your body daily is really important. But I think that once you learn some of the other stuff, like the thought work is daily, I think you start noticing things. Like once I learned my attachment pattern, I started noticing it in other people, not to judge them or say, oh, by the way, you're this, but to have more compassion, actually, to understand a little bit more why people do what we do. It's like, why is someone doing that? Well, it's for some reason, right?
Right. It definitely is for some reason.
Yeah.
And what is that reason?
Exactly.
And I think so many times, like, you know, just in my own exploration is, I'm sorry, this light is distracting me. You have this beautiful light on you, and I'm like,
oh, I do.
You look awesome. This is like red or something. But, oh well, I'm just gonna let it go.
You look good.
So I feel like, yes, there's just so much exploring to be done. I wish this was taught to women and men at such an early age. You know, it makes your life, you know, just exploring who you are. And I think that one of the big things that I've seen and I've read about in some of your posts and have experienced myself is how disconnected I was to the feminine energy of myself. You know, I mean, and it started so long ago in business. You know, in business, you're barreling through and you're driving and you're closing the deals and you're making things happen. And then you wonder, why in the world do I feel so depleted? And I used to love, you know, what I'm doing. Why don't I love it? And it's because you're not listening. Like the feminine part of myself. I looked feminine, but I mean, I don't know, the way that you act, it, you know, it just, it's out of balance and it's not sustainable. And for me, it showed up in relationships where I was, you know, being more masculine energy when I'm naturally not a masculine energy. I just lost touch of that. And it just, it burns you out, right? I mean, it just.
You feel like you were attracting people that were wishy-washy and not solid in what they wanted and who they were. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Totally. So, I mean, how I'm seeing this more and more that, you know, in things that I'm reading where people were, you know, it's like this awakening of the feminine energy and just kind of being more, doing less, being more, and receiving, you know, and just having that vibe, that energy to attract.
I think so many times we go to school. I think one of the reasons why I teach this, you said it, it's I wish this was taught in school, but if this was taught in school, then they wouldn't be able to teach us also that the answers are through the teacher. You're going to find your answers. The teacher has the answers, right? You don't have the
Uh-huh.
okay. So what I'm teaching you is the opposite of that teaching. Is that you have the answer. The teacher teaches you a skill, but you have the answers. So it's, I don't want to get like, you know, anything too crazy, but it's, we actually don't teach people how to be empowered in a lot of places in our life. We teach them how to be safe. And then, and we teach them that they need us to be safe, but we don't teach people how to be empowered. And so what I think a lot of people are walking around, men and women, successful people, all ages, all races, all everything, are walking around more connected to what they should do rather than what their body is telling them to do. And that's the feminine energy. It's being in tune and embodied, like to be sensual, right? To be sensual is to dance with sensuality, like when you're feeling it, is very different than dancing by thinking it. Someone trying to dance within their mind, it's like dancing, right? You gotta get down in it,
right? And it's so funny because I did a couple years ago, I did this thing. It's called Dancing with the Realtors. And so you had to learn this dance and I had my instructor and I wanted to do I didn't do, it was something Latin. It was not the cha-cha. It was a cha-cha. I think it was a cha-cha, something like that. And anyways, he said, don't take this personally, or in the wrong way, but you have really masculine mannerisms. And I'm like, what? I'm like, but I can actually see that. I can actually see that I'm like in that role. Like I'm not in my body. You know, I'm doing what I think I should be doing to attain that certain goal. Right. And it's bringing me zero joy. Right. And it's just a grind. And that was like in the beginning parts of my like awakening to like, okay, yeah, I need to learn how to tap into the feminine.
Yeah.
And
it's more.
What was that?
And play more.
Yes, and play more. Oh my gosh. I read this book. Have you read Gabrielle Bernstein's book, Super Attractor?
No.
It is such a good book. So I went and I had this reading done just on a whim as I was leaving my salon one day. There's a little, you know, this sweet girl, her name's Taylor, and she is a psychic and a medium, and she gave me this great reading and she said to read this book, and it is it was life-changing. I read it probably end of May or early June, and it just gave me the freedom to go to tell the universe what it is that you want, and then just let them handle it, and you just be. Your main focus, according to this book, is to just feel joy, just to be happy, to play, to, you know, and the universe responds to that vibe and that feeling, not your thoughts, the feeling. So feel good. Do what makes you feel good. And I was like, okay, this is kind of scary, because at the time, you know, I was prospecting. I've prospected it for the last 10 years. I built my business that way, and I freaking hate it. I don't want to call people who are selling by owner. I don't want to, you know, feel like that, you know, even though it works. And I was like, okay, this doesn't feel good, so I'm not doing it. And it is crazy how I've attracted like all the my past clients are giving, you know, coming back, and they're referring me business, and business is flowing to me. And my son is hitting the phone still, Nick, and he's like, Mom, you're not even doing anything. What the hell?
By the way, I remember you were pregnant with him. By the way.
Oh my gosh, I know. Yeah, walking across the stage, getting my high school diploma. Oh, walking through the halls like this. Oh my gosh. But that boy saved my life. That's another story. But I mean, he's just like, yeah, he's just like, Mom, you're not even doing anything. I'm like, I am doing anything. I am doing something. I am attracting, I am reaping everything that, you know, I've sowed and all of that. And it's just been an amazing ride.
I love that. I think so many times people think like, you know, what you're talking about right there, like going to what feels right, you know, and I don't mean like what feels familiar, but what feels like joy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Things feel familiar and they're toxic, but what feels like joy is what I truly believe is guidance. It's how we're being guided. So it's not, you don't just go like, well, you don't plan it out like, oh, I'm gonna do this, this, and this, and this because it's gonna get me this, 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 and this.
Right.
Like what's bringing you joy, those things are gonna, they're your purpose, your gifts, your everything's are gonna be in that. And that's what a lot of times people are missing out on.
Yes. And do you know how I had to deprogram my goal-oriented mind? I mean, every year you're okay, I want to sell this many houses, and I have to do X, Y, and Z to get there. And you have all your numbers, and it's so mechanical and robotic, and zero, you know, you are not listening to any intuition. That's another thing that I was going to ask you is, you know, you talk about tapping into your intuition, and it is, I mean, it's literally in guidance. It's literally listening to what brings me joy. So many times I wake up, I don't have a schedule, you know, I don't have, you know, I mean, I have a couple things that, you know, appointments and things like that, but I don't necessarily know what I'm going to do. It's not planned out like it always has been. And it's like freeing.
Right. It feels more joyful. Right. Because I think like if it's too much, if it's too masculine and it's energy,
Yes.
rigid, if it's too structured, if it's too consistent, if it's too, then it misses something else, which is why I'm all about that energy.
What was that? What did you say?
All about that feminine energy.
I know. It's just, and it feels so good. Like, why? So that brings me to my other question. I don't know how long we were talking a lot longer than I normally do, but I could talk about this with you forever. So it shows up in dating. So dating, you know, I mean, obviously I've got to make a shift in, you know, how I act in the dating world because I'm single and you are too. And I would love to hear your experience of the dating world and what is your dating life like these days and how, just tell me.
Okay. I love that. Like my mom, everyone in my oops, love when I talk about this.
I know when you were like, when you mentioned that, I was like, oh, I want to know. Tell me.
So for all of you out, a lot of you I think that are on here know. So I just want to say I have not been in a committed relationship in over 15 years.
That was like, wow.
And
wow.
And that's one of the reasons why I feel deeply passionate about dating and their attachment style. I unconsciously my attachment style for a long time is why I had relationships that were like lightning in a bottle. They had like really intense, fiery chemistry, but always ended not great. It felt disaster. And I never could really quite figure it out, but there were times when I didn't want to be in a relationship and I wasn't, and I did it completely. But I'm in a place where I've learned my pattern and I'm ready for a secure relationship, meaning I want a relationship. I'm looking for commitment. I'm willing to be committed. And so I've been doing this thing called circular dating. I've been having the greatest time doing it. And I learned it from one of my favorite life coaches, Esteem.
What's it called? You're kind of breaking up a little bit. Circular dating?
Circular dating.
Okay.
Yes. So circular, and it is, I learned this from one of my coaches. Her name is Stacy Bateman. And you have like 10 people in your circle. So I date men. So 10 men in my circle.
Whoa.
I know. I've never done that before. Right? I've always, in my past, I've always dated one person. That was it. I really dated multiple people. And what I love about that is that it doesn't make you fall in love with someone's potential before, you know, sometimes what I used to be a big fantasy bonder where we're like already, you know, like I'm the
oh, but what you could be so good one day. I know you got it in you.
Exactly. You know that.
I believe in you.
We're not doing that anymore. We're not doing that
anymore. No, we're not, honey.
Yeah. So I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone who knows what they want. So if someone is sure yet what they want, they're a no. If someone wants something happy, they're a no. So I immediately, that's one of my red flags. I also just in the circular dating, you just push everybody out from one red flag. One red flag. I'm noticing I've never done that before. I've always been like, there's all these other qualities about this.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh, exactly. And that comes from knowing yourself and knowing what you want. And I am the same way. I'll go on I've been on a lot of first dates, but I just have, and I've said no probably 10 to 1 times that I've said yes. Just because I used to be like, oh, well, he has this going for him, or he's good looking, or he's, you know, super sweet, or maybe I'll just give him a chance. No, like if my gut says no, it's a no. It's a no. And it's so, and at first my friends are like, you should be out there, and you know, they're all married, and you should be out there having fun. You should date every Friday, Saturday. No, I'm going to do what I enjoy doing. And if I've, you know, come across somebody, if I meet somebody that I'm interested in, I will go out with them. And sometimes that means I don't go on a date for 2 months, and I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, it's different, right? I mean, everybody is different. And I think it's important to just really go like, what do I want?
Right.
There's different ways to live, right? There's different ways to exist and be happy. And you don't have to be married to be, you know.
Right. True. But how do you get your 10 men? So you literally have 10 men that you're talking to at once? Or?
I don't. The circle's open. So there's room.
I love it.
At the table. I've red flagged quite a few people. I am really Andrew Huberman in my circle. So if anyone out there has a personal connection.
What was that? What did you say?
You know Andrew Huberman?
Who's that?
Oh my gosh. He is a Stanford professor and brilliant. I'll send you his.
Okay. Andrew, hello.
But I'd love for him.
Diana has an opening for you.
Giggle because she's watching.
I know. Let's see. There's lots of comments here. Let's see. How do you do this with the comments? Okay.
But I want to say, about me and dating is what I'm doing in it is that I'm realizing I have to show up in a certain way to get the person that I really want. So if I want someone who's available, great at communication, and knows who they are, what they want, then guess who has that same.
Right.
It's been great. It's been really empowering. Like, you can date and it can empower you and understand who you are more. Like, if I never dated again, like a year ago, I would have been sad if I died, because I would have felt like I like who I was when I was in that space. Now I'm like, I love who I am. And you know what? There's no success. There's no Prince Charming. I'm still single. I've not found someone I want to go on another date, really. And
right.
I love who I'm in it. So I just want to say to people out there that you don't not really necessarily be about the goal. It's about who you become on the way.
Yes, I agree. And I'm enjoying the adventure too. Like, at first I was like, oh, because I've only been, okay, on the opposite end of the spectrum, I've only been single for like 3 years of my entire adult life.
Oh, you're serial monogamous.
I know. And I mean, let's be real, and not the right relationships. You know, that's why I'm not, oh my God, I'm sorry I keep doing this. I'm just going to hold it. But, so yeah, so I've had to learn how to be single, and I enjoy it now. It's fun, you know, and I used to feel like if somebody asked me out, I would feel bad for saying no. I'd be like, oh my God, I should at least go to dinner. Or I should at least, you know, go have coffee. But it's like, no, if I'm not interested, then I don't need to go, you know? So, yeah, it's been a journey. So do you go through all that in all your classes and everything with all the, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We go deep dive into all this stuff, all the attachment styles about ourselves over again. What I love about a coach, like, you know, if we could all get to where we wanted to go by reading the book, we'd be there now, but it's not, right? There's something really beautiful about the accountability of a coach and a mentor. And it's the way, you know, I really learned how to learn from a long time ago. It's like the yoga teacher ways. You have a teacher, you learn from the teacher, they watch you, they give you feedback, they really coach you into place. I think a lot of times we don't see a lot of things that a coach helps us do. So yeah, I help people see what they can do by themselves. And really, I've never had an experience where it hasn't been someone been like, wow, I feel like I have better boundaries, trying to know myself better, understand self-esteem, and their lives are changed.
So how does the coaching program work? Is it like a couple times a week, or you said it's on Zoom?
Yeah, so I have a group program coming up January 19th, and we meet on Wednesday evenings. And if you live in California, Pacific Standard Time, it's from 4 to 6. But if you live in Cleveland or if you live in Ohio, it's from 7 to 9 p.m. on Wednesday night, 2 hours. And we meet for 12 weeks. And we also meet personally one-on-one. So if that's just the group program. And I love the group program. Just being in the same room with a bunch of powerful women that's the cost of admission itself. Because, you know, we're like sponges. We soak up energy by the people we surround ourselves with most.
Yes.
So it's like to be in a room with people that are committed to raising their energy and the real work and being conscious of their thoughts and being emotionally available and all that. So if we do work together, we work for 3 months together one-on-one. We meet on Zoom, and then in the group program, we meet in the group. It's really awesome. I'm such a fan of the program, and I love the group program.
Oh my God, I love that too. And then you do one-on-one coaching that's sold out for this year. You're starting to book again in January, right?
Yeah, so I'm selling one-on-one coaching in January. Right now I'm selling a program called the High Voltage Life. It starts in January, and I'm also mentoring a couple of teachers, 5 to be exact. A full year mentorship. It's me diving into the business with you to help you as a newer teacher. I know it's scary. You feel all alone building your business. I've been in the business for 22 years. I'll help you get to the place.
This is the OG, you guys. If you want to learn, this is the OG. Oh my gosh, I love this. Thank you so much. You're a light. You are a light, and I love that, you're just finding your voice to help others, and you're an inspiration. I thank you. I'm so happy that you came today.
You inspire me so much. You're such a baddie in the business world. I look up to you so much. I do. I look up to you.
Thank you. Well, we'll cross train. You help me with the soul inspiration aspect of things.
Okay.
No, but you're a badass businesswoman too. So, and I'm gonna go see Danny I didn't know that was his freaking restaurant.
Yes. I'm so excited. Happy to see you, Lisa. You would.
All right. Well, thanks, girl. It was awesome talking with you. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Okay. Bye. I don't know how to end this. Here we go.